Well, ladies and gentlemen, we filled out the first half of the roster for the finals, and today we will fill out the second half. Welcome to day number 10. And in our first group is Puff, Big Cat, End Count, and Uncle Fokker. Uncle Fokker is the only one in this group to be undefeated, not losing a single race yet. And they are one of 3 racers remaining that still have that distinction. And so far, they do have the lead, at least currently, as they've been pulling off some impressive times, and they're showing to do it again. But as I say that, they spin out and cause a little bit of a traffic jam, allowing some of the other racers to catch up, but then they start pulling away once more as they approach the finish line now in first place. Definitely not their fastest, but I'm sure they can improve if they stay straight and stay focused. But we're in another situation where all 4 racers finished in front of the clown car, which has not happened a whole lot. But with how fast some of these racers are, I am not surprised that this is becoming more frequent. We almost had one racer clipped by the clown car upon entry, but they still all managed to pull it off. And the clown car, I don't think, would have gotten any points if they were an actual competitor in this competition. But Uncle Fokker continues to dominate his competition, not making it easy for anyone else. And the clown car just nudged forward. That might have counted and gotten them points if they were competing. But it is End Count who finished in second, so I'm sure they feel a little bit better. Big Cat and Puff have some work to do. As the second race begins, End Count is staying in second right behind Uncle Fokker, but he may not be in second for long, as somebody was looking to catch him, and it looked like Uncle Fokker's back end almost clipped the ramp where the clown car comes in. But it could have just been him popping up at the same time that would have happened, so it might have just been sheer coincidence. For now, though, Uncle Fokker clears the first place finish yet again, and we have 3 people finishing in front of the clown car, meaning one of them will not get any points. Some of these races have definitely been pretty close, and I'm sure we'll get some nail-biters today and leading into the finals of this tournament. But for now, we still have these races to look at and see who will move on and fill up the last 4 spots in the finals. So far, it's looking pretty good for Uncle Fokker and possibly End Count, although Big Cat actually finished in front of him. So they are tied for second. Puff, unfortunately, is not in a good position after not finishing in that race. So here we go in the third race. The lanes are split, and Uncle Fokker was right beside End Count for just a moment, but they managed to get a slight lead, which could make all the difference going forward. And End Count and Big Cat are clashing for second, and so far it is in End Count's favor. Uncle Fokker trying to stay off the walls to keep his speed up, and they so far are able to keep winning, not losing a single race. End Count actually struggled a little bit by the end, finishing behind Big Cat. So things were looking good for End Count, but now Big Cat has finished in front of them twice, allowing them to get the lead in points, I believe. Or rather, not the lead, but a lead over them. And that clown mask is looking as smug as ever. Who knows what kind of obstacles we'll see in future competitions. I'm sure they will be interesting. But now End Count, feeling confident after being in the top 2 after the first, is now trailing Big Cat just slightly. But 1 point is all you need over somebody else in order to make a world of difference. So now End Count is on the hot seat, possibly being knocked out if he doesn't finish in front of Big Cat right here and right now. Big Cat is now looking to get first place, but he has to deal with Uncle Fokker, who has a big lead over them. Although Big Cat looks like he's actually getting ever so closer, ever so slightly. But Uncle Fokker is trying to keep that distance just in case he slips up a little bit, which, thankfully for them, they do not. And Big Cat finishes in second once more. So End Count, who actually finishes behind the clown car here, is out. Seemed promising after the first race, but after that, it just went downhill for them. Meanwhile, Puff gets stuck much further up the track. So this will also be an unfortunate end for them. So this will cause Uncle Fokker, who's still undefeated, to go into the finals alongside Big Cat. So we are guaranteed to have at least 2 in the top 8 of this tournament not have lost a single race as of now. We might possibly get a third once we see Isa Khan competing, but we'll have to see who they're up against. So congrats to Uncle Fokker and Big Cat. And now for the second group, which has West Coasin, Numbskull, Iceman, and Isa Khan. We saw Numbskull and West Coasin competing not too long ago, and they are fierce competitors, so we'll have to see how Iceman and Isa do up against them. So far, Isa has the lead, but Numbskull and Wes are hot on the trail. But Isa actually goes completely sideways, losing all the speed they had, allowing Numbskull to get the lead. This could be what dethrones Isa from being undefeated, leaving us with just 2 racers who are. There goes Numbskull heading towards the finish line, but Isa is trying to catch back up. It looks like they might be able to pull something off. I think they did. Numbskull slowed down just enough that I think it gave Isa exactly what they needed to pass them right as they were approaching the finish line. Not the cleanest win, but as it's often said in competitive events, a win is a win. That was messy for sure. But let's take a look again. Numbskull had the lead, but then they went to the side, allowing Isa to grab that open window of opportunity and stay undefeated. I'm sure that was a wake-up call for Isa. So let's see if they're more careful this time, or will history repeat itself? The race begins. Numbskull has a slight edge as they get out of the gate, but that edge is quickly lost. It looked like Iceman had the lead for just a moment, but somehow going around that turn slowed them down significantly, and now they're near the back. Isa Khan triggers the clown car with a decent lead over Numbskull now. And because they didn't slow down, it's not going to be easy for anyone to catch up. So they will need to go sideways or something again in order for anyone to have a chance. But that is not happening as they finish in first once more. And Numbskull finishes in second, followed by Wes and Iceman. Everyone finishing in front of that deadly clown car. It's definitely a lot more promising when everyone can finish in front of a clown car, although, looking at that replay, the clown car almost landed on top of Iceman as they passed through, which could have made things more difficult for either one of them. But Isa had a clear victory this time around, so I'm sure that first race was a wake-up call that they desperately needed in order to stay focused. Now, if Isa can finish in first one more time, they are guaranteed to move on to the top 8 and participate in the finals. But they are sitting comfortably with 10 points, so even if they don't finish in first and lose their undefeated title, they do have at least a little bit of breathing room. And Numbskull does have the edge over Issa this time, and Issa tried to find a way around them, but ended up just giving more of their momentum to Numbskull, who now has a bigger lead over them, and Numbskull has been known in some of their races to stay off the walls completely, and they almost did it this time. So Issa Khan, despite a very valiant effort, will not be undefeated, so the only ones that will be in the finals are Uncle Fokker, and I believe Dex Hendrick is how you say the name. So only a quarter of them will stay undefeated. But obviously we only have one clear winner, so at least one of them will be dethroned in the next video when we have the finals. But now, because Issa Khan finished in second this time, they are not technically guaranteed to move on, but it's looking pretty good overall because they and Numbskull have been finishing in first and second every time. So I don't think Iceman or Wes can catch up to them anymore. So it's looking pretty good for the two of them, meaning Numbskull and Issa. So now Numbskull feels a little bit more comfortable now knowing that they can pull a win off over Issa. But Issa finds a way around them here and grabs the lead. Numbskull, however, is not falling behind. They are not making it easy for Issa. They both fishtail around the same spot. Numbskull is trying to pass them just how Issa did to them, trying to do a nose block, and they will finish in first in front of Issa. Brilliant racing by Numbskull. In fact, brilliant racing by all, because they all managed to finish in front of the clown car most, if not all, of the time, which has been rare in this tournament. But with that race having happened, we will now have our entire roster for the final set. And out of the 8, 2 of them are still undefeated, and one of those 2 still has the fastest time in this tournament so far. So great racing by all, great entertainment to be sure. But now, our roster for the finals is set, and it will all be decided in the next video. Thank you all for watching. See you then.